not every day we get to talk to someone who's not just a successful musician, but also a champion of the flat picking. So that's pretty cool. We're real excited about the new album, but also very excited to have you with us today to talk about it and a lot more. So the album isn't quite out yet, but it's coming soon, and that means you're in that hurry up and wait phase. This isn't your first go round, though. Does it get any easier to have the recording and mastering done and then having to sit around and wait for the finished product?
Man, well, there is not a whole lot of sitting around and waiting going on here. I'm deep in this age of content creation, right? So, and working with a publicist on this release with Sarah J. Frost, who connected me with you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Sarah. And we have a plan. We've been rolling out singles. There's been 2 singles already released. There will be a 3rd single in about a month. So this is all, leading up to the album release March 28th. And I am an industrious, ambitious kind of flat picker. I don't just sit around and let grass grow under my feet. We filmed with the band from the album. We filmed some live videos of some of the singles and some other songs from the album, and been releasing those kind of following up on the single releases. So I've organized those and got those together, and the first one went really well for Been Away Too Long, and the live video turned out great. We filmed at the Planet Bluegrass in Lyons, Colorado, where they have a Rocky Grass Festival, beautiful festival grounds with a creek going by, the St. Vrain River, and limestone cliffs, and it's beautiful. And so the latest single just was released last Friday, and this is a historical song about the Goat Canyon Trestle. So this goes along with the tradition of railroad songs in bluegrass and kind of piggybacking off of a lot of the famous songs recorded by players like Doc Watson, like the Streamlined Cannonball. And I had the first song I ever recorded on my first album was called Good Morning, Mr. Railroad Man. I loved the railroad songs. When I was little, I wanted to be an engineer. So the largest wooden trestle ever built in the world still stands in the deserts of East San Diego County. It was part of a railroad that was constructed between 1906 and 1919 by the Southern Pacific, but really the mastermind of this was John D. Spreckles, who was a big sugar magnate and shipping guy, one of the wealthiest men in the United States at the time. And San Diego never had a direct rail link to the east. So when Spreckles moved to town after the San Francisco earthquake in 1906, a lot of people got out of town after that. And he thought, okay, if I'm going to be living in this little sleepy southern San Diego town, I need to make this my shipping hub the way San Francisco was. So they set out to build this railroad. It was called the Impossible Railroad because it navigates the deserts of East San Diego County that are very inhospitable terrain, a lot of steep grades, and there's 69 miles of this line. It's called the Desert Line. It took them 3 times longer than they thought, cost 3 times as much. There's tunnels, there's trestles, and then 1932, the rail line it was attacked by soldiers in the Mexican War for Independence. I mean, There was all this stuff going on at the time. It was a rough road for them. So 1932, one of the tunnels collapsed from an earthquake. So Spreckles was long gone by then. His heirs had gone bankrupt trying to maintain this impossible railroad. And they sold it off, and the Southern Pacific went ahead and built this trestle to replace the fallen tunnel. And it's 700 feet long, 200 feet tall. It's at a 14-degree curve to brace against constant winds. It's a marvel of engineering of the 20th century.
Sounds like it.
Built completely out of Humboldt County redwood, because in that type of desert heat, steel would bend and warp.
Okay.
Wow.
So anyway, this is a long setup to tell you that I wrote this historical song about the Goat Canyon Trestle, and it's an up-tempo, rollicking, bluegrass, kind of Doc Watson style song.
Sweet.
And historical songs are tricky. It's easy to sound kind of geeky and, I don't know, to not really get a meaning across when you're doing facts, figures, dates. But I was so proud of how this song turned out. I love the song. And so it's the second single. And we did a live video with the band that I have But here I am in San Diego County, and I thought, I've never actually hiked out to this trestle. It's a long hike. It's 8 miles each way,
Oh,
and it's illegal because you have to hike along the tracks, and it's trespassing. But I thought, how cool would it be to go out there with my guitar and film a video in front of this thing? So my sister and I took a big hike last week. It was a full day. I had my guitar on my back. I had my,
oh
3 liters of water and all the supplies we needed in my backpack. And she was carrying, my wardrobe, my jeans and my clothes to put on, and her camera and all the recording gear. And so we hiked out there and got this amazing footage. It was this perfect day, beautiful conditions, and we filmed a bunch of video clips. And this is a well-documented site. There's lots of people who have done their YouTube videos about it. And so
yeah.
I went digging through the YouTube videos and contacting people to try to acquire their drone footage. I don't have a drone. So I got drone footage of the site. And so tonight, I'm going to stay up all night editing this video to release as a follow-up to the single. So
Okay.
I'm always scheming and always, trying to make the most of this situation. And so anyway,
Wow,
long answer
Yeah.
to your question there. There's not really any lack of activity. There's not a whole lot of hurrying up and waiting going
Well,
on here.
Two things I'll say in response to that. Number one, yes, we will link to the video in the show notes so people can easily see your finished product, because we record this far enough ahead of time. It'll be out by the time this thing posts. So that's
they
number
listen.
one. And number two, I think this might be the first instance of someone admitting to committing a crime on our podcast. So that's cool.